We all join in welcoming Lord Heseltine. Millionaire by 25, Cabinet Minister by 35, Leader of the Party by 45, and Prime Minister by 55. These are the words the university once wrote on the back of an envelope. It's clear that you had a view to go into politics from such a young age. How was having this long-term strategy laid out from when you were very young help you to achieve high office?
It wasn't. The story emerged from a great friend of mine, Julian Critchley, who I went to prep school with, public school, Oxford College, and in the House of Commons. And we were great friends at Oxford. And he wrote this book in which this myth appeared.
It's false.
False. It's sad because it makes such a lovely story and everybody asks about it, but it doesn't happen to be true. So I'm afraid you better move on to the next question.
Secretary. Many members of the party hold her on such a pedestal. Would you say that she was the best Prime Minister of your lifetime?
No. Howard Millen would be my choice.
Why so?
Well, he told the truth. He was a visionary. He explained in language which was very difficult the changed position of Britain in the world, his wind of change speech about the end of empire, his application to join the European Union, which was a huge transformation of policy for the Conservative Party at that time. These were the actions of a great leader. He was a one-nation Conservative, came from something of a patrician background, but he certainly gave every impression of a patrician background. He was the most remarkable man. I knew him quite well.
What were the dynamics like in her government? You had your cabinet colleague Lord Heseltine last week, and he said that in cabinet she did listen to people, but then she always got her way. Would you say this is accurate?
No, that is not accurate. But then in fairness, Nigel wasn't in the cabinet in the early days, which he'd be the first to point out. She found it very difficult to listen. The relevance of this point is that when you got to cabinet, the way cabinet works is that the Secretary of State, who is responsible for the subject matter, produces a paper outlining the options and making a recommendation. That's what a cabinet minister has to do. And in Margaret's cabinet, you've probably not got through the first 3 sentences of your submission before she'd interrupt. She knew what she wanted, that's perfectly true. She had strong views, that's perfectly true. But she wasn't going to sit there and listen to somebody putting over the case they wanted to put over without hassle. So if you wanted to get yourself beaten, diminished, and in the end ejected, you gave in to this. And people like Geoffrey Howe and myself, one or two others, we learned the hard way that if you were going to, if you put up with this stuff, you were finished. So the only way to deal with it was to start off presenting your paper. She would interrupt, you would wait until she drew breath, and then you would start again. And you just had to deal with her like she tried to deal with you. And it was countercultural. It was a very odd experience to find oneself having to do that. But it was called survival, because I saw what happened to the guys who didn't stand up. They were out.
You held many positions in your time in government. If you could take charge of one other department, which you didn't get time to do, be one other cabinet secretary, what would it be?
Education.
Education, that's the same with Lord Wilson. Why?
You said that.
He said that as well.
How interesting. Because it's a scandal. We are 29th, so I don't know how many of you know these figures. There's a couple of figures. Britain is 29th in the World League of Education Attainment. You can't win from that sort of position. Let me give you another one. 25% of the kids coming out of our primary school, a quarter of the kids coming out of our primary school are, by modern employment standards, illiterate and illiterate. I mean, it's appalling. You've got a problem in life. Show me the person in charge. No, it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Do you see any parallels at all between Theresa May and Margaret Thatcher?
No. Right, they're women.
Yeah.
Someone who was around in the 70s and 80s, obviously, in Parliament, you were in there in the 70s, were you, is that right?
66.
So 60s, 70s, 80s. How would you say that, like, politicians and Parliament has changed, like, people's attitudes, politicians' attitudes today to back then?
Not at all.
Not at all. So you think it's
Read Shakespeare. Read Shakespeare.
Still love just as much? Politicians still love?
They've always known.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look at the sort of the great cartoonists of the 18th century. Look at the Taper and Tadpole and Disraeli, and you know, our problem's a simple one. We take the decisions you won't take. You know, and if they were easy decisions, popular decisions, believe me, they'd never come near us because you take them. It's when the thing, there are irreconcilable conflicts that people cannot resolve, they bring in the politician.
You've served as a member of Parliament for the last 50 years. What do you regard as your biggest achievement?
Biggest achievement? Oh, well, the developments of, yes, I mean, urban development, devolution, huge historic shift back to the provinces, competitiveness of general, the right to buy, all of these things. Beating CND was very important in its day. But if there was a moment, one moment, I have no doubt when it was the Tory Party conference of 1981, when I had spent 3 weeks walking the streets of Liverpool after the riots. And the reason why this matters so much is because virtually everything that I've done, I've answered your question, has been with the grain of the Tory Party. They liked the redevelopment, they liked the right to buy, they liked beating CND. So I was going with the grain. Liverpool was not going with the grain. This was a city that was seen as failing much to its own fault, a long way away, bitterly Labour and all that, and it rioted. And the Tories don't like riots, and you know. So when they rioted, I felt a personal responsibility because I'd been associated with the city, and I said to Margaret, "Look, we can regard this as yobs on the street. This could just be lower youths out of control. I think it's more profound than that. So I want you to let me leave my departmental responsibilities to my junior ministers, and I'm going to walk the streets with it, and I'm going to listen." And I did. And that was, without any doubt, the finest thing I ever did in politics, because that was against the grain, you know. And I did it, and I'm still proud, hugely proud.
I suppose my background, so maybe just to end, you've got potentially got wannabe politicians in the room tonight. What one piece of advice would you give to students who are seeking to go into public office?
Well, I would say try and make yourself independent and of repute. Go and do something where you've got a contribution to make and an income you can fall back on. That would be my advice. I wouldn't tell you where to go, because you just go and do what you want to do, what you're good at. But when you come into politics, come with something to say, based upon feet on the ground. I think it's better for you, it's better for politics, and as your career will end in failure, You'll have somewhere to go.
Thank you for those wise and optimistic words. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you agree it's been an absolutely fantastic way to end this half of Reading Week. After Reading Week, we do have Peter Hitchens on the 14th, not quite a Conservative, which should be a fun debate, and then obviously Greg Clark on the 24th, and then a number of think tanks coming in as well for that period. I think we'll go Reading Week, join us for some wine afterwards, I'm sure we'll hit the pub as well. But for now, everyone join me in giving Lord Heseltine a fantastic round of applause.